discover Georgia. With us is our very special guest, the Deputy Foreign Minister of Georgia, David Jalaganya, and to talk to us about more of his lovely, wonderful country. Now, sir, in the first segment, we talked about the history of Georgia, and it was once part of the Soviet Union. And when the Soviet Union collapsed, Georgia became an independent country. What is Georgia like today, sir?
Today, Georgia is an independent country, as
Yes.
you have mentioned, and we have chosen our way of development and to go further in the future. As I have mentioned, it's Euro integration and Euro-Atlantic integration from political point of view. From the social, it's to become a really good developed European country with free market, with rule of law, without corruption, without or very reduced criminal, to be reliable and frank neighbor in the region. We have our challenges related with our territorial integrity and sovereignty because of 20% of our territory is still under occupation of Russia, and we rely on international support and on our allies that sooner or later we will solve this problem. At least we are doing our
Yes,
best to reach this result, and we know that right is on our side.
Yes. How are you? I mean, how is Georgia's relation now? I mean, how are relations with your big neighbor to the north, Russia? Because a few years ago, it was in the news, and people still ask me about it today when I mention Georgia. They always refer to the conflict in 2008. So what is the situation today? Is it safe? Is it peaceful now in Georgia? Is it safe for tourists to go to Georgia?
Yeah, it's very uneasy to answer this question with positive and the same to mention the problems we are facing, but we have nothing to hide from our friends and from our colleagues, and we are a very responsible country, and if we are inviting someone to visit Georgia, to visit us as a tourist or as a businessman, we have to tell him a true and reality. Yes, as I have mentioned, unfortunately, 20% of our territory is under occupation, and fortunately in this part, Georgia's government's responsibility is if the nil, not only limited but does not exist as such. There is a completely militarization from Russian army, and there is a black hole from point of view of human rights. Russian has conducted ethnic cleansing in this part of our country, and that's why up to 500,000 Georgians, and not only Georgians, but ethnically majority, vast majority was Georgians, they expelled from these places of their birth, and they are residing, and nowadays they became as IDPs and refugees.
Yes.
But I have to say that rest of Georgia is on the safe side. It has developed, and we got in last year and this year the best marks in our region in GDP growth. And I have to say that only one country among 22, according to IMF's records, who has upgraded its GDP forecast was Georgia, when from the beginning of this year was mentioned 5.5,
yes.
and now we are aimed 6.2, maybe we are up to 7. We will finish this year, and we have and we could survive after big crisis,
yes,
as you have mentioned, in
yes.
2008,
Yes.
which for many countries was common, related with the world crisis, but for Georgia it was doubled with the invasion and the aggression of Russia and war with them, and but we could survive, and our economy is stable and has a trend to grow up. And besides, tourism is one of the main source for our budget income, and I have to say that the last 2 years we have increasing in visitors up to 40%.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And we received last year almost 2.5 up to 3 million tourists and visitors together. And in this year already, it's not finalized. We are touching the 3 million.
That's amazing.
Figure.
And for a small country that's just, as you said, that came from a bit of conflict a few years ago, to have that kind of growth is amazing. And I think it's a testament to the resilience of the Georgian people to really overcome crises and to just move forward and develop the country. Now, sir, on the tourism side, obviously a lot of people are now interested in Georgia. As you said, 40% growth, which is huge, because a few countries can boast of such growth numbers. What is the main attraction of Georgia? Why do people come to Georgia? What does your country offer?
It's a good question. Georgia, as you have mentioned in the beginning of our talk, is a small country. It's only 69,000 square kilometers. And in the long, if you are sizing Georgia, it is up to 700, maybe less, kilometers. But we have 9 climate zones. We have a mountain and seaside. We have very green, very beautiful nature. 40% of our territory is forest. We have 26,000 rivers, which could be used for hydropower stations.
Yes, sir. Wow.
As I have mentioned, we are agriculture country, and almost all our agriculture products can be mentioned as a green product. But what about exact tourism? All kind of tourism. In summer time, seaside tourism, or in winter time, you can use as a ski. But we have places, for example, Batumi, which is now burning place of our tourism industry, and I don't know.
By the Black Sea.
It is a small sign of Georgia's development. You can swim in the summertime in July or August, and in 1.5 hour driving to visit Svaneti in high mountain area and to ski, or vice versa.
Or vice versa.
That's why any health tourism, hunting tourism, sport tourism, cultural tourism, historical tourism, cuisine tourism.
Yes, even wine. Wine tourism.
Wine tasting.
I mean, in the former Soviet Union, the best wine in the East Bloc all came from Georgia. And now that the East Bloc is no longer there, it's not, the fine Georgian wine is now available for everyone to enjoy.
Yes, and we are proud that we can, and Georgia is considered already in the bloc where such a very traditional countries, winemaking countries are as France, Italy, Spain, and we are considering ourselves in this group. We cannot compete with quantity, but we can very
quality.
Good to compete with quality. And the qualitative wine we can deliver and offer to our guests as well as to our consumers in the world market.
Yes, and also for Filipino tourists going to Georgia, and one of the things I want to do is to promote tourism from my country to your country. Is the Philippines being a Catholic, a Christian country, would be very interested to visit the Christian sites in Georgia. You have some very beautiful Christian monasteries, ancient Christian monasteries.
Yes, and we have, despite of very difficult periods in our history, we have quite very impressive pieces of our historical monuments.
Yes.
And some of them are under UNESCO World Heritage nomination, and you have mentioned really correctly, and almost in each corner of Georgia you can find some church or some piece of historical monument. And as I have mentioned, we are a Christian country, but we are a multi-ethnical country, and maybe you have already visited, you know my country very good. In Tbilisi, a small corner, I think in radius 1 kilometer, where they are located synagogue of Jews.
Near the old town. Yes, yes.
The mosque.
Of course.